For a moment, Nalini, I want our viewers, and I want to take our viewers to 2011. When we were covering this case in Chicago, in that federal court, India was confident. There were several senior officers of the NIA who were there in court. A lot of information was shared with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and it was put to scrutiny by the Department of Justice and the prosecutors in the United States of America. But unfortunately, he wasn't convicted on charges of 2611. Both he and Headley were convicted on charges of the Copenhagen terror attack. So imagine these terrorists, Pakistan-born American and Canadian terrorists, were plotting and executing terror attacks not just in India, but also in Europe. That is how far and wide the terror tentacles of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Pakistan's ISI are spread. The world is sleepwalking through a disaster. But one man was very upset in 2011. That man was the Chief Minister, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Damodar Das Modi, and he made his displeasure felt, very apparent. Listen into Narendra Modi in 2011, and I'll tell you about the pursuit of justice from the time he became Prime Minister in 2014 to the time he became Prime Minister again in 2019, and now when he's become Prime Minister for the third time in 2024, how with single-minded devotion to a cause to punish Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, that mission is now moving in the right direction. But first listen in to Narendra Modi in 2011.
अमेरिका की शिकागो की कोर्ट में आज राणा एक टेररिस्ट को मुक्त करने का फैसला हो चुका है। किस आधार पर 26/11 के मुंबई के आतंकवादी घटना के दोषियों को निर्दोष करार करने की हिम्मत शिकागो कोर्ट करे? इन्वेस्टिगेशन किसने किया? जहां घटना घटी उनका रोल क्या रहा? यहां के पीड़ित लोग हैं, उनको न्याय कौन दिलाएगा? अमेरिका ने पाकिस्तान को खुश करने के लिए ये मिली भगत से कोई पैतरा रचा है, कोई व्यू बनाया है। देश के प्रधानमंत्री अमेरिका के मित्र माने जाते हैं, उनके बैठते हुए ये एक तरफा कार्रवाई कैसे हो रही है? क्या 9/11 के दोषियों का केस हिंदुस्तान की कोर्ट में चल सकता है? क्या अमेरिका इसके लिए हमें परमिशन देगा?
So 2011, he was very angry. How could Tahawwur Rana be let off? Because evidence against Tahawwur Rana was very clear. India had painstakingly gathered that evidence, intelligence, documentary evidence, corroborative evidence, and submitted it to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Then that case was pursued when Chief Minister Narendra Modi became Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Through 2019, that effort was increased and intensified. Finally, he is being handed over and has been handed over in 2025. And Nalini, this time, the way this case was pursued through every obstacle that this Pakistani terrorist put forward in court. मैं मुसलमान हूँ. He said, I'm Muslim. I will be persecuted in India. I'm an ex-army soldier. I will be persecuted in India. India is Hindu majority. I'll be persecuted in India. Nothing worked because India was clear. He had to be prosecuted and he is being prosecuted. Bring us that effort that went into bringing him to India, Nalini.
Well, Gaurav, one thing we are certain about is that the Indian authorities and especially the NIA have approached this entire issue very, very strategically because at every aspect, not only have the Indian authorities been closely working with the US authorities to ensure that Tahawwur Rana can be brought back to India, but even the lawyers that have been associated with the case who will now be arguing against Tahawwur Rana before the Special NIA Court are the same lawyers who've been closely working even on his extradition. So you can imagine the kind of details that they already have and the details of the NIA case that are already with them, the amount of time that they've got to prepare this entire case against Tahawwur Rana Rana because extradition was only the first hurdle that they had to cross. The bigger hurdle is to bring him back to India and ensure that he gets convicted. And for that, the NIA will have to make a watertight case. There is absolutely no possibility of leaving any loopholes because any loophole can be exploited by Tahawwur Rana as well as his legal team, especially in a country like India, where he's already claimed that he might be persecuted, that there might not be a fair trial against him. So all these allegations, even before coming to India, he's already been making. So the kind of allegations that he'll come after coming to India is something that we can only guess at this particular point. But that is essentially why even the lawyers have told us that they're working on ensuring that it's a watertight case. So there is absolutely no scope of any loopholes being exploited by Tahawwur Rana. Along with that, what we also know is that during the extradition process also, the NIA had categorically given details to the US agencies about his involvement, about what they'd found in his investigation to ensure that a case can be built so that he can be successfully extradited back to India, which has now officially been done. So kudos to the Indian authorities for that. But there is a bigger hurdle that still remains to be crossed, and that needs to be done not only well, but it also needs to be done soon, because it's not just about justice being done, but also seen to be done is what the victims of 26/11 have essentially been asking for.
Oh, absolutely. And the victims of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks we've spoken to on India Today and on Aaj Tak, they're very clear. At least don't feed biryani to terrorists anymore. Don't feed them biryani out of taxpayers' money. But I want to bring in Srishti Ojha, who's been tracking developments on the story closely with Nalini Singh, again joining us from the Special NIA Court. Srishti, justice, as Nalini was also pointing out, should not only be done, it must be seen to have been done. And that's exactly what is happening right now. What details can you add to the prosecution effort? What is the case that prosecution is making out before Judge Charanjit Singh in the Special NIA Court?
Well, Gaurav, we're right outside Patiala House Court, where the special NIA judge, as we speak this moment, is currently conducting a detailed hearing with regard to the custody of Tahawwur Rana. For how many days should the custody be given to the NIA? From what we have learned is that, as Nalini pointed out, Senior Advocate Dayan Krishnan, the special public prosecutor in the case, and NIA's entire legal team is arguing to get custody of Tahawwur Rana in this matter. We've also learned that Tahawwur Rana has also been assigned a lawyer by the Legal Services Authority, as is also part of the legal procedure as it stands in India. No matter how serious allegations have been made against Tahawwur Rana, regardless of the extradition and every other allegation that is made against him, he still has a right to fair trial and also a right to fair legal representation. So in this matter, even today in this hearing, we know that he will be represented by a lawyer who would put forth his side before the court. Based on the arguments made by both NIA and his lawyer, the court would eventually decide as to how many days custody of Tahawwur Rana should be granted to the NIA. What's also important in this case, Gaurav, is that back in 2009, the National Investigating Agency had filed an FIR in Delhi, a larger conspiracy case FIR against both David Headley, Tahawwur Rana and certain other accused. In 2011, they also filed a charge sheet with allegations of larger conspiracy, where the main allegation against Tahawwur Rana and David Headley was that they entered into a larger conspiracy with other co-conspirators to basically conduct terrorist activities in India. And these are the allegations that were clearly laid down in the charge sheet, stating that Tahawwur Rana had assisted, provided tactical, logistic, financial support to David Headley, and several terrorist acts were committed. There was a conspiracy to wage war, cause threat to people, kill people, cause injury to people in India. So that's what the charge sheet back then said. Obviously, the case couldn't proceed further, considering both of them were in the United States and not in India. So the NIA is also likely to apprise the court of those developments, because the case number, the particular case that is being heard before the court today, the case in which the SPP was also appointed by the government, is that same very case. Will NIA further decide to add on more offences, more allegations against, more charges against Tahawwur Rana, is something that we'll have to wait and watch and see.
Tahawwur Hussain Rana currently is in the court of Judge Chandrajit Singh, Special NIA Judge. And India Today's team of reporters Srishti, Nalini and Shivani continue to get us details.